Hello, mate. What's going on? And welcome on back to Football Therapy with me, your host, Jan. I hope you're doing well, mate. I do really hope that. And welcome back to Chelsea News, which, of course, is your daily series here on Football Therapy, where I scour the internet, the global general footballing media, see what's being said about Chelsea, giving you my thoughts on it, but as always, more importantly, asking for yours. Today we're speaking about a few things. There's transfer matters, there's talk about a striker, and it sucks. I also want to speak about Mike Penders, more talk about Robin Roofs, the Sunderland goalkeeper. Could we loan Penders to get him? Because is Mike Penders ready to just be slam dunked straight into this Chelsea side and be the solution to our goalkeeping problems? I'm not so sure, man. I genuinely am not so sure. Of course, Rosini has coached him before, but if Rosini has a terrible end of season, will he even manage us next season? I think generally there's a sort of collective belief among Chelsea fans, just from what they've heard, even if they haven't watched Strasbourg a lot, that, Penders is a great talent for the future. But do you want to bring in another child to try and sort out this team, which is clearly lacking experience and seniority, even if the Chelsea head coach says it's more of like a mental and emotional strength thing rather than anything else? We will see. Reports coming from Argentine journalist that Chelsea's teammates are trying to get Enzo Fernandez's suspension cut to just Port Vale so he could return for the Man City game. Very interesting, because there might be a lot of stuff happening behind the scenes that we're not seeing. Maybe it is all harmonious and, the vibes were up after a Port Vale gubbing, but that doesn't really teach. I mean, it's nice. It doesn't really teach you anything, though. It's nice that the people at Stamford Bridge got to see Esteva win man of the match and have a bit of a samba party, all three Brazilian boys scoring. It's just nice, but we didn't learn anything. You saw Enzo Fernandez smiling in like the stands, and maybe everyone's happy and they are rallying and they want to beat Man City, but we will see. So, we're going to rattle on through the news stories I've aggregated for you, man and woman, today. First of all, I just want to speak about Diego Moreira. So, he's obviously killing it at Strasbourg. We got him on a free. We sold him to sister club Strasbourg for 1.5 million or 1.2 million pounds. This is coming from the Chelsea Chronicle. Apparently, we hold a very favourable buyback clause for £35 million attacker in the summer. Now, Chelsea got this young Portuguese-Belgian, I think he's declared for Belgium now, attacker. He's an amazing player, super skillful. I don't know if any of you guys keep an eye on Strasbourg, but he's mad skillful and tenacious and great. And I've spoken about him here on Football Therapy before about this, could we get this kid back? He looks, he's dope, he's exciting. But then again, of course, we have loads of young wingers. We've got Giovanni Kenda joining in the summer, who actually might return for the Arsenal game or the return leg at Arsenal in the Champions League, because they're of course playing Sporting. I mean, what a lovely little dopamine hit that would be if a Chelsea-bound winger dunks on Arsenal. But it looks like Borussia Dortmund are interested in Diego Moreira, and apparently the numbers being spoken about are £35 million. Now, that's quite a lot of money for a player that Chelsea got for free initially, and for that reason alone, I do not think he'll be coming back for me, because I think the buyback clause is probably if you sell him to your own club for 1.2 million, I suppose the buyback clause would be because you got to do fair market, but I suppose you put it in early doors, so it wouldn't be any more than 10 million euros, would it? So you are the buyback. By the way, I'm pulling that figure out of my behind. But you say you either buy back for 10 million euros, a really exciting, dynamic player, or you sell him for 35 million quid and bank that. Although it would be Strasbourg banking it, not Chelsea. That's another thing you got to consider. But then again, they do have to look after Strasbourg because it's their club and they want him to succeed for the greater good of Chelsea. Strasbourg fans won't like that, and nor should they. But that's the way it is. I did want to mention him. He's an excellent and exciting talent, and I will be keeping an eye on him. If he goes to Borussia Dortmund, that would be quite exciting. Right, let's speak on the Veronica Brunati I think it's probably not Italian because she's Argentine. Ooh, here we go. This is her on X. She is an Argentinian. Do you say Argentinian or Argentine? I don't even know anymore. Understand that either way, a reputable, Argentine journalist. Understand that Enzo Fernandez's teammates, Chelsea teammates, have asked the coach to lift his suspension. They see him as a key for the clash. Key is for the clash against Manchester City. Sources close to the player insist his priority is to stay at Chelsea FC, with talks focused on a new deal. This is not just about an extension, but a contract upgrade that reflects his role and importance in the team. Several top European clubs are also closely monitoring the situation. Right. He wants more money. And we know this. This is the vibe, yeah? He signed a life sentence, but probably Chelsea, when they signed Enzo Fernandez, they were like, yeah, we're going to pay you this much. By the way, he gets a much larger base rate than some. Cole Palmer's pay rise is still lesser than Enzo Fernandez's initial contract, but we were signing a World Cup winner. And, the best young player of the World Cup sort of vibe. So he was going to demand a fee, especially when big clubs, demand relatively good wages. Because, other big clubs were in for him then. Even back then, Real Madrid and friggin' other teams were interested. So from what I've seen, before, I think he's on 180k a week. Which, for a base rate, is a lot still. They'll still keep the incentivized structure in, but I think he wants the floor raised and recognizes that other teams would just pay him a bigger base salary. Then it gets to a point in, no matter how much you love the team you've joined, if you're not proper Chelsea, like Reece James, for example, if you join a team and you might like them, you might like, you're good guys, you're good people, London's cool, London's a great city, let's make this work. But football's a short career, and just for a fact that Real Madrid would be paying you at least 40% more, at least, than what you're on. And you're not asking them for the money. He might not be asking Chelsea for the money Real Madrid would pay him. He's just saying, come on, give us a bit more money. Do you know what I mean? And seemingly that's what Chelsea are trying to do. They're offering him more money, but they're at an impasse. And that's probably why he did this misguided wink, wink, nudge, nudge, kissy faces towards Real Madrid. Or Madrid generally, but let's be honest, it's Real Madrid. It's a tale as old as time. I don't agree with it, and that's why I'm fine with the sanctions or whatever, especially when you're captain. I've made my position very clear. If you're wearing the Chelsea's captain armband, you don't start making kissy faces at Real Madrid. The way Hazard did it was different, but, things like Thibaut Courtois, and I just don't like the way Enzo was doing it. It's not unforgivable. He's a young player, and he's made mistakes before. Clearly, we know he's made mistakes. He'll hopefully learn, and I hope he stays because he's a great player. And he needs sort of a consistency around him to thrive, and we haven't given him that. So I totally get it. But it does seem like the Real Madrid stuff was just him trying to squeeze more sort of leverage out of Chelsea, and Chelsea were like, no, you don't do that, basically. In the similar way Enzo Maresca was trying to do it with Man City. They were like, no, you've literally just got here, sort of thing. You've done well. Well done. Good first season, Maresca. Well done. You probably got some sort of bonus for winning the competition, Club World Cup. But we're not going to just give you loads of much bigger contract or whatever. Moving the goalposts early doors. But Enzo Fernandez is not moving the goalposts early doors. He's been here for 4 years. Is it 4 years? No, not 4 years. He's been here a long time, over 3 years? It was 3 years in January, I think, so 3.5 years. So he's been knocking about for a while and having to deal with different coaches. And he's 25 now, so he's probably thinking, right, bit more money, please. And I think that will happen. So that's what Veronica was saying here. Sources close to the player insist his priority is to stay at Chelsea and for a new deal. And Chelsea want to give him a new deal. It's just the money situation. It's just the freaking Osimhen. Do you remember that was going on into the burning embers of the night, and then we couldn't get over the line. But then he gets actually paid huge wages at Galatasaray. I tell you what, the one that got away for me is Osimhen. We could have made that work. You want to speak about winning mentality, leading by example, Galactico superstar finishing ability, but as well as leading, that pressing like a monster, running. He would have been the Chelsea striker for me, Victor Osimhen. Excuse me. The one that got away. Very sad. Very sad indeed. Now, before we speak about the goalkeeping situation and the Penders part exchange deal loan, before you get triggered, I do have to give you a different trigger warning. So take a deep breath. Let's breathe out together. And look at this. Collective scream. Graham Bailey, what are you up to again, Graham Bailey? You transfer specialist? Hopefully not. Darwin Núñez, there he is. There he is. 4 minutes ago, although I haven't refreshed this page for a while. Chelsea in contact over shock. Shock being the important word here. Darwin Núñez transfer. As Liverpool striker eyes a stunning return. And my word, it would be stunning. It would be fever dream, gag reflex, regurgitation, deep shock, incontinent, explosive, upsetting, harrowing transfer with the greatest of respect. It doesn't sound like I'm respecting him. Darwin Núñez. Now, you'll be thinking, mate, he gets Saudi money. We've just been talking about Enzo Fernandez not getting enough money at Chelsea. No, the snowball's chance in hell we're signing Darwin Núñez. And I would say there is no chance we're signing Darwin Núñez. But Graham Bailey, who does often report on good stuff, but this is starting to sound a little bit like for Chaz, the Spanish silly newspaper. News site. Let's have a look then. Núñez has emerged as a surprise target for Chelsea, with Team Talk sources confirming. So who are these, man? Who are these Team Talk sources confirming to you, Graham Bailey? Because what? I don't think any Chelsea fan, when you know, so we've had the briefings recently. Don't worry, Chelsea fans. We're going to sign loads of Premier League experience, more senior players. And of course, we signed Barco or gets that confirmed. He's, an exciting player, but he doesn't, for me, solve problems necessarily. Or have this seat because he's young and he hasn't got Premier League experience. And then if Chelsea wave Darwin Núñez in front of you saying, not that young and Premier League experience, they'll probably go, we didn't mean that. Don't give us that. As exclusively revealed in February, we are now in April, of course, Núñez began assessing his next move after being dropped by... So he's been dropped by Al Hilal because of Karim Benzema. It'll happen. That'll happen. Even though Benzema's old, he is still Karim Benzema. That development prompted the 26-year-old Darwin Núñez, so he's 26, sort of the sweet spot, and entering his prime, gang, so don't you worry, to actively pursue a route back to European football. It's understood, here we go, here's the important line, it is understood that Núñez is prepared to take a significant reduction in his wages to facilitate a move. It would have to be significant, Brev, if to play in this current Chelsea climate, and also... I don't want you. So, with his representatives making it clear that personal terms would not be an obstacle in securing the right project. There's that word. So, apparently both United and Spurs were both approached earlier this year. So they were approached. It's not they were approaching him. The agent's like, roll up, get your Darwin Núñez here, half price. Darwin Núñez. Guys? Newcastle? Tottenham? Oh man, I've got mega hay fever. As we previously reported, both clubs do retain an interest in the Uruguay international in this going towards the summer. I mean, Newcastle are obsessed with just buying strikers. Ever since Isak started wanting to leave, or even Wilson as a second choice. Obviously, two of their targets went to Chelsea, and Delap, Joao Pedro. You can have Delap. We can make that happen. We can make that happen. For you, my friends. We can make that. Maybe give us Lewis Hall back. And you can have Delap. Very good deal. But yeah, obviously we've got Joao Pedro. I'd like to keep him, thank you very much. But then they bought Voltemada and Vissa. And apparently they're not happy with either. So they're constantly chasing number 9s. The Blues are actively reviewing their market for a number 9 with uncertainty surrounding several of their attacking plans. There's a lot of uncertainty around Chelsea just generally. One of Chelsea's priority targets, Samu. See, we should have signed Samu. Remember when we were being linked with John Duran and Samu? I forget his surname. It's just Samu. Amoradian. Possibly. Who, by the way, looks sick. And like everyone laughed at Chelsea when we were being linked to John Duran, who, you know, looked amazing. And then everyone wanted him. And then he got a Saudi move, which was a mistake. And then Samu, when everyone was like, why would we get Samu? He was an Atleti player on loan at a different La Liga club. I forget which one. And then he went to Porto in the end. But, like, he scores so many goals and he looks wicked. He looks like a proper, strong, good goal-scoring number 9. I think even, like, this season he's got more than goal every other game. And didn't he, like, dunk on Man United as well last season in Europe? He just looked... I mean, we should have got him, basically. But apparently he's got a knee injury. Omega, of course, is joining Chelsea from sister club Strasbourg, but is not yet guaranteed a place in the first team setup. And of course, there we go, Liam Delap has yet to cement his place and is attracting a number... Ooh. Yeah, so back to another article. Nico Jackson and Liam Delap could be for sale, basically. Let's land this horrible plane. There is not a single cell in my body that wants me for Chelsea to sign Darwin Núñez. If there's a weird multiverse where we sign him for 20 million, gets really low wages, and for some reason becomes really good, scores loads of goals, especially loads against Liverpool, then that timeline I would feel happy to enter. But on my second channel, Football Yannick, go subscribe for daily content. I looked at the Opta supercomputer today. And the Opta supercomputer would give that reality a 0.001% chance of happening. So, of course, do all you can to avoid Darwin Núñez. Ladies and gentlemen, go nowhere near Darwin Núñez with the greatest of respect. He's the most calamitous. He gives Timo Werner in all the bad ways. I know a lot of people say he's got a really high shot volume, and if you look at the data, there's good stuff there, but I'm done with just like niche data. Do you know what the kind of data I want? Is the kind of Victor Osimhen data. He'd beat the crap out of you and score loads of goals. The Didier Drogba style data, that's what I want. We are through the looking glass now, gang. We could maybe finish in the Champions League, maybe not, and of course... that would dictate what we can do in the market. But we'll sell players. We'll make loads of money, probably for Nico Jackson and some for Delap if he does go. Other players will be sold as well. I think we'll probably make a few quid for like Disassi if West Ham stay up, which I'm not sure they will. But, there'll be money, basically. Right, so we're going to speak about this. There's Penders. Look at him looking happy. Chelsea could include Mike Pender's deal to sign £50 million rated Premier League star, which of course is Robin Roofs. Now, I don't think Chelsea would sell Mike Penders, but if Sunderland will stay in the Premier League, there's no ifs but buts about it. They're going to stay in the Premier League. Congratulations to them. I didn't see that coming. And he has got a very strong save percentage, Robin Roofs. Fair enough. At this point, I don't know what to think anymore. Robin Roofs has got a stronger save percentage than Robert Sanchez. Not by much, by the way. But he does. I'm just done with Sanchez, man. I do feel a little bit bad for him. Like, he's not been handled well by all of his managers. Probably from friggin' Potter to Pochettino to Maresca to Rosenia. but he sort of gets himself dropped all the time. I'm just done, bro. I'm done with Jorgensen. You're off, brother. You're gone. Jorgensen, I am no. Sanchez, maybe he could be a second choice, but he'd never accept that. So I think he's got to go, man. I think the Robert Sanchez saga at Chelsea is done. I know he's still got some believers. As in, like, it's the manager's fault, it's the hierarchy's fault. I don't know, it's the hierarchy's fault because it is the manager who's dropping them all the time. Different managers, which tells its own story. He's just not good enough. And if you're not going to get Mike Mignon, then whatever, man. You know, all bets are off. I don't care. Let's just try someone else. Just throw the dice. Do you know what I mean? Just throw the dartboard to a name. And if it is Robin Roofs, who's played well in a season in the Premier League, and to get him over the line, we say, right, we really like Mike Penders. You can't buy him because we love him and we believe he's like the second coming of Thibaut Courtois, hopefully without the Real Madrid snaking. And we'd love for him to have a season in the Premier League on loan. You loan him to Sunderland maybe. And then we play Robin Roofs, who he thinks can perform at the level. We signed Robin Roofs, who can perform at the level in the Premier League. And then they get Penders for maybe a year, who knows, maybe 2 years on loan. So like in the same way Courtois did 2 years at Atletico, maybe he has 2 years in the Premier League, like playing in the Premier League. Other than that, I'm going to say it again, like I think Chelsea should sign Trafford. You know? He's playing in the Cups for Man City, you know, slapping up Arsenal in the finals, slapping up Liverpool 4-0 in the final. I think he won like player of the match on SofaScore, Trafford. I genuinely think we should have a look at him. I know maybe it's a different style and maybe because of all the people in the world, Guardiola's stopped doing passing football and he wants to go long and maybe Trafford's like, you know, better suited to that. Maybe. I don't know. But if you want just like a good goalkeeper, I would genuinely try and sign Trafford. But I've said that before. I think you guys have responded to it in the comment section below. But either way, like I'm done with the goalkeepers, bro. I'm just done. Do let me know your thoughts though. Thank you for liking and subscribing here on YouTube, Football Therapy, and do consider helping me out a little bit more by either dropping in those sweet hype points down here or heading over to your podcast, your preferred podcast platform, great alliteration, searching Football Therapy Podcast and giving me a follow and a 5-star, and I'll be forever grateful. I'll be back here every day. All right then. Take care. Peace.